Hi, my name's Gina and I'm from Little Magic Train. And today I wanted to talk to you or get your feedback as well about the importance of putting the A into the STEM, into the science, technology, engineering and math. I've been looking into this and I work with lots of nurseries and childminders and preschools in the UK. And we use STEAM. So we use science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And it's really important to add the creativity and imagination, because did you know that the artistic brain and the science brain are actually very similar? They're both very open-minded, they're inquisitive, and they do not fear the unknown. And they prefer leaps to tiny little steps. So to be really forward thinking, to be able to be innovative and to be able to create things that nobody else has thought about, you actually need to be very artistic, creative and imaginative. So it's really important to ensure that you are enabling and allowing your children to have imaginative, creative role play moments. When we're doing authentic learning as well, it's really important that we ensure that we are giving them and helping them to develop and build their own imagination. I have to admit, I myself was quite surprised when I saw all of the research about versus the artistic versus the science brain, because I was that artistic child at school and was always made to feel very stupid. But now I realize, as they say, as well as Albert Einstein is quoted as saying, a true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And also Bill Gates is quoted as saying, creativity allows people to be effective. Because if you look at the world around us, that has all come, well, the man-made world around us, or person-made world around us, has actually come out of somebody's imagination. And I think one of my favorite examples, well, actually two of them, one is Da Vinci. If you think about Leonardo da Vinci, he was the ultimate artist, but he created a self-supporting bridge, canal locks, which are still in use all over the world. He also drew and imagined tanks that were actually used during the First World War. Quite incredible. And a double hull on a ship. Now, if the Titanic had the double hull on the ship, it would not have sunk. So he was so forward thinking, and that was all down to his imagination and creativity. So that just gives you an idea of how important it is. We really need to nurture the imagination of our children and curiosity so that they will be able to be engaged in the learning process. So my big question to you is, where would we be without imagination and creativity? As I said before, the artistic versus the science brain shows that creativity and imagination is not just for artists. As I said, the same level of openness to ideas, creativity is required for science, technology, engineering and math, the STEM subjects. And I think really importantly, medicine, which obviously is a science, because I always think about the first heart transplant. How did anyone think you could take a heart out of one person and put it in another one? That was imagination. Unbelievable imagination. Again, without the imagination and curiosity, we would not have built a rocket to explore space or discovered antibiotics. I truly believe, I'm really passionate, that creativity and imagination are the magical ingredients to the STEM and to our progress, and also for authentic learning. I'm also having this discussion at the moment about authentic learning and ensuring that we have creativity and imagination in there. So science, technology, engineering and maths absolutely go hand in hand. But if you add that magical ingredient of creativity, you will elevate the child and the adult's ability for innovation. So we really need that creativity for innovation to help us get out of this bit of a hole that we are in with how we are destroying the world. So we really need that creativity to take everything to the next level. So when you add that magical ingredient, you have STEAM. So you go from STEM to STEAM, and that is really important. There's a brilliant quote from the author of the TED book, Save Our Science, and they won the MIT's Top 100 Innovators Award. They said, creativity breaks the ice to enable learning. The skills of the 21st century needs us to create scholars that can link the unlinkable. These scholars must be willing to try many combinations before finding the right answer. They must be comfortable with concepts that they can play with in new ways. We want smart, thinking, creative people. This is the formula for a better tomorrow. So smart thinking, creative, really need to keep those artistic skills there. In the UK, the arts is just coming off. Is being put to one side in the curriculum. They're focusing on the science, on the STEM subjects. But if they're taking that artistic side away, we are not going to be innovative. And that's why I'm rather passionate about it. So the greatest achievements have been by creative scientists thinking outside the box. And there's some people that you'll know about, and you'll think, oh, we've heard that one before. But there's some people on my list which one person in particular that I've always known about. But a lot of people get quite surprised. So thinking outside the box, they're imaginative and curious to see what would happen if ... Just few of the greatest creative minds to give you some food for thought. We all know Albert Einstein. And as he said, true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. But I like this one. Frederick McKinley Jones. He invented mobile refrigeration. His innovation limited the far less effective use of ice and salt to preserve foods for transport. So they were able to extend the distance of which food could be successfully delivered. That was a lot of imagination. I do remember as a child, living in a very hot country, and it was about 18 hours drive from one town down to a specific place. And we used to see the hearses going full pelt because they didn't have a cooling system in the hearse, and we are talking about sort of between 35 to 42 degrees in temperature. So I enjoy this when I think about what I saw as a child. So thank you, McKinley Jones, really, for having that ability to think outside the box. This is my favorite one. Hedy Lamarr, the most beautiful actress. She was known for the hair. She was an actress, but not many people realize or know that she was actually an inventor. And she seems to have been ignored for a very long time because she was an absolute beauty and actress, and society does tend to push people to one side. She pioneered, this is the thing that gets me, the technology that went on to form the basis for today's Wi-Fi and GPS and Bluetooth. Her system involved the use of frequency hopping on radio waves. She did it to intercept torpedoes during the war. So quite amazing. She was an actress, incredibly creative, and she came up with this amazing idea. And without that, I wouldn't be talking to you now. Obviously, Nikola Tesla, the Tesla coil. We wouldn't have our radio, TVs. My favorite thing was the electric boat that he created by remote control. 2 UU, malaria fighting drugs. Another one, George Washington Carver. Incredible ideas to think of all the number of uses that he could come up with for a peanut. You can actually see the children doing that in the setting. Give them an item. What can they create with that? But he came up with 100 different products on the major crop of the peanut. And that included dyes, plastics, and gasoline. So incredible. From the humble peanut, he linked the unlinkable. Of course, Raj Reddy receiving the Turing Award for computer science, design, and construction of large-scale AI systems. Really important now. Rosalind Franklin. Another favourite and one of mine is Ada Lovelace, Lord Byron's daughter. She, an associate of Charles Babbage, whose prototype of a digital computer, she's been called the first ever computer programmer, Lord Byron's daughter. That's the ultimate in creativity. Then obviously Thomas Edison, Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Alexander Graham Bell, Charles Darwin, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. The list is endless, and it shows the importance of imagination for your little ones, and also for children in primary and secondary school. Ensure they have access to the arts, because the arts and music, drawing, painting is actually what makes us human. So no matter whether your little ones end up in a career in the arts or in the sciences, engineering or maths, they will always be open to ideas of creativity and imagination. If you give them the opportunity to experience creativity, imagination, the arts, they will be open to new ideas. We all know that our little ones are naturally inquisitive. They want to touch, they want to feel, to taste, and understand absolutely everything around them. We need to nurture that creativity and curiosity in our children, so that we can support and encourage openness to new ideas by helping them come up with different solutions and answers to any problem they come across. We want to help them develop their divergent thinking. There are lots of different solutions for a problem, lots of different answers to a question. Yes, I know in class we want the specific answer, but actually we want them to go around and outside the box to come up with a solution to the problem. And it's fun thinking about this, and we're engaging them. They want to explore and find out more. Who wouldn't want to be in a classroom with a teacher and their peers doing fun, exciting, engaging things and experimenting and finding out what would happen if? We can develop their creativity through activities using imagination role play, as role play is a wonderful springboard for early STEM activities. My area of specialty is obviously in the early years. So I always try and get nurseries, to be as multisensory as possible in all activities, so that the children are engaged in whatever activity they're doing. So, but making it a creative and sensory activity, because some children, all children are kinesthetic learners to start off with, and then they go off into their specific areas. But we want to ensure that we engage all the children in the session. So I have some ideas to help stimulate their imagination and creativity, whilst we nurture, very importantly, their early math, their engineering, science, and by adding the A into the STEM. I do feel like I'm being a bit naughty saying, make it artistic. But when I come up with those ideas, my mind always goes to my own little magic train, because my little magic train takes you anywhere in the world, can even go back in time. So we can jump on board and go back in time and travel to the land of the dinosaurs. I bet you have children in your nursery that are dinosaur obsessed. I know everywhere I go that they really are, that they are. And actually, if they're obsessed by dinosaurs, that's really good, because it shows that it's a sign of intelligence, because they're able to classify, remember all those amazing names. Remember, children can remember those really hard names of the dinosaurs. One of my favorite names is the Quetzalcoatlus. I have to admit, it took me 3 weeks to be able to say that properly, but they pick it up. So if they can pick up words and names like that, think about all the opportunities to add and build their vocabulary and help them with knowledge and understanding of the world. So they are just sponges. So as I say, with my little magic train, we have some fun early math ideas for you. On one of our adventures, I'm actually quite dinosaur obsessed at the moment, because I really do love my Jurassic Park films. So in one of our adventures, we have a pair of Stegosaurus who were playing far too roughly, and they had consequences. So this is great for knowledge and understanding of the world. They got stuck together. Their plates got stuck together, and we have to find a way of putting them apart. So you can think of all those lovely activities you can put in the tough trays around your room. You can have Lego stuck together. They need to have to pull it apart. So great for their fine motor control. So we pull our Stegosaurus apart, but oh no, disaster. All of the plates have fallen off. So they have plates and spikes on their spine all the way down their back. They've all fallen off, and we need to get them back on our stegosaurus because they're feeling a little bit without their plates and spikes, and they're feeling a little bit embarrassed. So we need to go around the room, and you can get the children to pick up items that will represent, using their imagination, the plates or the spikes, and put them back on the stegosaurus. So, for example, to add the maths, you could have, if you wanted to, I like to use items that represent things, so we're getting them to use their imagination. You could have some paper plates, and you could color them, you could put numbers on them, you could put them all, place them all around the room, and you can guide them towards them with positional language. Then they pick them up. So if they had to get the red ones or the green ones or anything with a number 1 or 4 on, and then they have to go back to the stegosaurus. You could have masking tape on the ground, and then you could have numbers or colors, and they have to match what they're holding to what is on the ground. So that is a wonderful opportunity for early maths for the children. We also have some ideas for early engineering as well. We have a Titanosaurus who loses her babies. She's a little bit forgetful. She loses her little eggs, and we find them, and we need to give them back to the mummy Titanosaurus. But the Titanosaurus is exceptionally tall, and we can't reach the top of her head. We can't, because she's actually balancing her nest on the top of her head, because she has to walk on all fours. So that's another thing of problem solving. How's she going to carry her nest? So we have to reach up as high as we can to put the eggs back in the nest. So this would be a wonderful opportunity for block play to represent. We could use blocks to represent boulders and rocks. They need to build a tower. So think of those engineering you've got little engineers there. They're building a tower to place the egg on the top, and they need to make sure it doesn't fall off. So we're creating little scientists. They're experimenting and observing their building efforts. The process helps them to learn about mass, weight, proportion, and balance as they plan and predict the outcomes of their efforts. And most importantly, they're helping the mummy and baby Titanosaurus. So we're helping each other. We're doing engineering, we're doing maths, there's so many opportunities. You can see from one little idea of imagination, there's so much your children can learn. I haven't forgotten the science part, early science. So with my children, we look at the environment of where the dinosaurs have come from. And of course, our environment, the environment of the dinosaurs is full of volcanoes. So I bet you can instantly think we're going to have volcano eruptions. They will love creating those volcano eruptions. But you don't have to stop there. You can have fun with meteors as well, because extinction event. So we're learning about that, obviously the science behind it, what happened, knowledge and understanding. So you can have fun with meteors hitting the earth, poor dinosaurs, and you can show them images. There's a beautiful book that came out recently, which I've got, of new images of the moon from the NASA launches, and they can see the craters on the moon. And what you can do is you can set up one of our trusty tough trays or a sandpit, or even just something, you've got an area outside in the grounds or garden, you could put some sand on there. You don't have to use sand. You can have smooth moon sand or sterilized flour, and then you can get some small pebbles to represent the meteors, and the children can drop them from different heights to see the size of the holes on the moon and the impacts they're making. So from the heights and the forces, there's endless fun to be had with this one. And I can assure you can also have mud. Why not have, it could land in a tar pit, so you could have some mud as well. So you could do that on Earth, or you could do it on the moon. You can choose, the children will guide you. It's about having a combination of guided and child-led for your children with the imagination, because they will take you off on so many different areas, and you will start to have fun. I've learned a lot as well. Yeah, I was just thinking about one of the things I learned about space with the children, but I won't say here. They're one of the most important things to know about space. There's one thing that happens, and why astronauts have a specific diet is because something that can happen if you have lots of beans in space, very dangerous. So the children absolutely love that. And that is information, and they start to find out about that. So we've got early technology and engineering. We can learn about the different forms of transport and technology around us that could help us travel back in time to the land of the dinosaurs, or to the moon, or going on the sea. So you've got boats. So there are all these different things. And you can look at things that would help us fly, move, or float to get us to our destinations. And if we're going to the land of the dinosaurs, we might need to be in something that will help us avoid being eaten up by the dinosaurs. So perhaps we could go back to one of Da Vinci's tanks that he created, or if we're on a boat, a double or maybe a triple hull, because of the very, very big, scary dinosaurs in the water, and they will be feeling very hungry. So we have lots of opportunities to help your children with their science, their technology, their engineering, and their math, just from using a story, using imagination, using role play. So for me, my big message is go forth, nurture their creativity, imagination, put the A into your STEM so the children can make the connections that no one else can see or think about. Now, actually, there is something I do want to mention. I am an absolute Star Trek fan, because there's so much when you watch the early Star Trek series and films that were of imagination that are now actually real. So in Star Trek, they use tricorders to gather medical information, and they are now actually MRIs, and some of which are being developed for space. So somebody had this idea to put this into this TV show, and actually it's become a reality. And in 2017, a medical tricorder received 2.6 million prize money from the X Prize Foundation. So from somebody's imagination, we have reality, we have innovation moving forward. We also have communicators. They're now our mobile, they use communicators. I don't know if you remember in Star Trek, they're now our cell phones, mobile phones, and which connect to satellites and satellite phones. Also, Star Trek crew members were seen for years using tablets or iPads, many years before they became available to us commercially. So yet again, everything that we see around us in our man-made world has come out of somebody's imagination. One thing that does interest me, I don't know if you remember, they have quantum teleportation. It has actually reached its furthest. We are actually doing this at the moment. And we've got here, teleportation has only been achieved on a quantum scale across a few miles, but it won't be long. So there's so much to think about. If you're preventing or not encouraging your children to be artistic, to mark make, to role play, to have all these opportunities of messy play, we are hindering their imagination, and we need that imagination and creativity for our progress and innovation moving forwards. Remember, take a look around us. That has all come from somebody's imagination. And I don't know if anyone has any questions or any thoughts, because that is really it. And I cannot believe it. I did it 7 minutes too fast. But I just wonder, it's so hard doing it. We're not seeing anyone's response. I don't know if anyone has any questions at all or thoughts, or totally disagrees with me, thinks we should only focus on the science, the technology, the engineering, the math. No questions. But there are so many examples. We have, I was just trying to think, when you go back to all of those people that have been incredibly creative, and especially, I know Elon Musk is quite controversial, but he has created, with the electric car, going out into space. It just shows somebody who's so creative and is absolutely determined to move forward. But I have to admit, I think one of my favorite is Lord Byron's daughter, creating the computer, and obviously, of course, the gorgeous Hedy Lamarr. And thank you, Hedy. I would not be here talking to you now had it not been for all that Wi-Fi that you created to help during the Second World War. Absolutely amazing. So I don't know if you have any questions. Do you have any questions, EC? Any thoughts at all on it? But there are so many ways that you can be creative with your children. You can set up your environment. You can come up with a theme. So if you have a monthly theme, you can then set up your trays or tough trays around the room, link activities to that theme that will help them develop their STEM subjects, but making sure it's creative as well. Make it the theme that you're creating in that room is actually going to be artistic, because they're going to visualize, they're going to see it, they're going to be doing it, they're going to have authentic learning. You want the children to be hands-on and to actually see their work. I remember I was told a story by somebody I work with in the UK. Her son had been doing all of this amazing things in his nursery, and he built this enormous dinosaur. Absolutely, see, we're all dinosaur obsessed. Enormous dinosaur. And at the end of the day, the teacher made him take it all apart. He was absolutely mortified. So that actually wasn't helping or developing the children's creativity, imagination, because to him, that dinosaur was real. And it would have been lovely if she'd left it on the side for him to see it the next day, or allowed him to take it home to share with his family, because actually that was engineering. He was creating and being creative during the day, but she just destroyed it all. Absolutely, totally destroyed it all, which is such a shame. And it is really important to make sure that the children know that their creative efforts are appreciated, and that everything that they do is amazing, because we will see it differently to them as well. I don't know if you remember all of your wonderful artworks as a child, probably squiggles and squalls, and totally unrecognizable, but to you, that was your house. That was a rocket. So make sure that you nurture their creativity, because you don't know who is sitting in your classroom. You may have the next Stephen Hawking. You may have the next Alexandra Graham Bale. And if you stifle their imagination, they could be lost. Those ideas that they could come up with to make our life easier could all be lost. And you might have a future amazing surgeon out there, like Christian Barnard, who did the first heart transplant. You may have somebody coming up with some wonderful ideas, taking their dolls apart and matching body parts. So just make sure that you nurture them, give them the opportunities for creative role play, creative work, allow them to experience the arts, the music, the painting, the drawings, because as I said before, that is what makes us human, and that is what makes us so special and so different to other species on Earth. But as we have seen, elephants can paint. But do let me know if you have any questions. Any questions? Any thoughts? No. I do hope you'll be creative, and look forward to. Do contact me if you would like to try something. Do not hesitate to contact me at Little Magic Train. I can give you some ideas of being creative as well for your children. If you have a specific theme that you're working on, please do not hesitate to contact me. I can come up with some ideas for you as well, some planning ideas to help the children with their STEAM as well, as we have been doing this. Little Magic Train has been doing this now for almost 30 years. So I'm starting to feel rather ancient and old, but we have a lot of information for you, and we're always researching, we're always amending, we're always updating, because that is something that you need to do for your children as well. The research shows that children learn more through play and retain that knowledge, and play is creative, play is imagination. So it is really important that you allow them, because all the research shows that play is the most important thing for your children in your nursery and at home. So thank you so much for listening to me going yak about something I know I'm really passionate about, absolutely passionate about, ensuring that your children have the chance and ability and mainly the opportunity to be creative and role play and play, because that is how they're going to learn. So thank you so much for listening to me, and do not hesitate to contact me if you ever have any questions, or if you would like some free resources, we can send over some creative activities for you as well. So take care, have a wonderful weekend, and thank you very much for listening to me, Gina. Take care.